everyone. Welcome to our Tech Insider update for February 2022. Appreciate everybody who's attending. Those who've attended this many times, welcome, and those who are new, we're glad you're here with us.
All right, everybody, let's jump into M365 and all those the goodness that is there. The first update we've got for you is probably been on repeat for us for a while because it will affect pretty much everybody, and that is that licensed services are moving to the new commerce experience, and that is going to affect anybody signing up after March 1. And if you come up for renewal, that's obviously going to come into play. So basically, you can still do month to month. It's just going to cost you a little bit more, or you can move to an annual subscription and save some money. So a lot like Netflix in that way. So buy the DVDs or subscribe, right? So with that, our account managers would love to talk with you about that if you've got questions or not exactly sure how that is going to affect you going forward. Cloud site list management, it's a little thing that not everybody has to deal with, but we have some applications and things that require old Internet Explorer capabilities. And so we have IE mode in Microsoft Edge. And now what they have is IE going away completely as of June 15 of this year. And they now have the ability for you to manage list sites or store site lists, in the cloud. And you can even use GPO to push those out to your users. I believe you can even target those by groups and individuals with the group policy feature. Named entities moving over to DLP and sensitive information types. There are 52 new ones that they've pushed out there, along with 10 new data loss prevention policies. DLP is one of my nice little secrets I love to tell folks. You can actually turn DLP policies on, but not have them implement any actions, and therefore use them as kind of a monitoring tool up front until you're ready to actually implement. So this gives you a ton more features on being able to manage that and control those as you go through your DLP deployments. Priority accounts are out now. I think they have two things they put out here. One of them is mail flow, and the other is a security piece. So you can tag high level or important accounts in your environment. Typically, this would be your C staff and those types of folks. And Defender can put some priority on monitoring those. You can put some priority alerts and things to let you know when maybe mail flow is not moving as smoothly as it should, or when there are potential security risks. Very cool feature coming up, and they are going to provide even more features going forward. They've just released those first two. Something to keep on your radar. Let's talk about Azure AD updates. The Azure AD graph is going away. Graph is not going away. Azure AD graph is going away and moving under Microsoft Graph as of June 30th, 2022. All functionality and all support will be ending for Azure AD graph. The Azure AD graph will actually stop responding to your requests, either through code, through whatever you're using. I use it a lot with PowerShell. So that's going away. You've got to convert over to Microsoft Graph. There's a bunch of mappings out there on the internet if you want to go search that and find those. Microsoft has documented those quite well. Number matching and MFA notifications. For those that do password lists, you'll usually get the little number, or it's one number that's sent to you, and then you have three numbers that would pop up on your authenticator. Now what they've changed it to is giving you the ability to push this out where you actually make the user type in that number, that two-digit number, so that's a little bit more secure, where it actually requires a little bit more effort on the user's part to make sure that they are who they say they are. This is deployable to by groups, either dynamic or static, and you can push this out in kind of a phased approach if you want to try it or give it a trial run and a pilot in your environment. Another update for Azure AD is that ADF users could be receiving more login prompts. This went in, I think, in December, towards the end of December last year. And so the ability for Azure AD to push more prompts to the user for ADFS, because it doesn't silently log them in anymore, or it has the potential to if your ADFS supports that. So what happens is the users in the past have been typically logging in with ADFS stuff, and because they're already logged in with an account, it pushes them right in and silently, quote unquote, logs them in, when that may not be the account they need to log into or want to log in with. So now what will happen is, if ADFS and everything is set up to support this based on your version and those types of things, Azure AD, when hit with a hint, can force the user to enter a new login account or continue with their existing account. So just something to be aware of. And if you're still on ADFS, we probably all need to talk. So give us a call on that one. Conditional access update. I deal a lot with CA policies. We actually had some unique things going on with those recently, and We would love to talk with you guys about conditional access. It's a very powerful tool, but it is a very finicky tool as a result, and you need to know kind of what you're doing, and you don't kill yourself with different policies that are conflicting. To that point, Microsoft has reconfigured the way the client apps condition works inside of conditional access. Typically, you can leave this unselected, and it didn't really care about any of these things. But with the onset of legacy authentication, ding, 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 another update that we've probably said before, but don't have in here today, that is ending. Legacy authentication support is ending at the end of this year. They have set this up to where if you don't configure this, legacy authentication clients will actually be included now in all of these things, and it's going to be very difficult to tell the difference. So you need to be specific when you're setting up your client apps condition inside of CA policy. There's plenty of things out there on the internet, but we would love to talk with you and kind of go over your CA policies if you have time, because that's a very important part of your tenant management. Cross-tenant access is a new feature that's out. I don't know that it's a GA yet, and I probably have it on my notes, but I don't have them up on the side, so sorry about that. But this will allow collaboration with members across other tenants, which we already can do, but this will allow you to control more of that, and you can target it down to a user, or I believe even a group, and different things like that, the company itself, to where you can actually determine if you're going to trust that company, the claim from that company, trust their MFA scenario from their tenant. So it gives you a lot more granularity in allowing guests to access your tenant from other Microsoft tenants. Very, very cool feature set there that they're going to be building out. Exchange online updates. I want to pause here for a second and stay on this slide. But basic authentication is going away in Exchange Online. This is huge. The date is very small in here, but it should be massively bigger. October 1, 2022. Basic authentication for legacy protocols will be disabled. That includes things beyond just your standard POP and IMAP and SMTP that we talk about all the time. It actually has effect on things like remote PowerShell for Exchange. It has effect on what's the other one? Oh, SMTP auth. If you're using SMTP auth, it will remain on. Microsoft is going to detect that and not turn off SMTP auth when this happens. However, if you are not using SMTP auth, or you're in the middle of a migration and you're setting up a new tenant, for example, you want to make sure that you are not using any of these legacy authentication protocols, and preferably not using SMTP authentication, because there is a point in the future where that will absolutely be turned off as well. But this has the potential to affect not just your users and their ability to get to email, but this has the ability to affect things like printers that send email and use SMTP auth and or other legacy authentication methods to connect to your system and send those. So we probably need to talk. If you have a ton of printers that are getting a little long in the tooth, you're probably going to have issues towards the end of this year if you don't do some upgrades there and consider how you would handle this. So we would love to talk with you about how to fix that before October 1st, because you'll be behind the ball if you wait till then. The classic EAC deprecation Exchange Admin Center is pretty much gone. There are little things that are moving around here and there, and you can still go back and forth, I think, until September. But if you're not using the modern one, the new Exchange Admin Center, you need to go ahead and switch that over to your tenant and start getting used to where those things are. I know for me, it's a pain because I memorized where everything was in the old one, and now I've got to learn where all the new things are. So anyway, worth getting started on now, because it's just going to force you to do it in September. Transport rule report. Again, Microsoft Exchange Admin Center likes to move. They've been moving things around different places. This was in Security Compliance Center. It's now moving back over to Exchange Admin Center, the modern one, the new one. So it'll let you report on your mail flow. It gives a nice little report to make sure you're getting your mails through for everybody. Intune updates. Going forward, as of January 7, 2022, it only supports Android 8.0 and up. So if you've got mobile devices, BYOD or corporate, and they're older than 8.0, you need to upgrade them or something, because they're not going to be working. Remote help is a really cool new piece in the Admin Center. I believe it's currently in preview, and it is currently free in preview, but it will have a cost when it goes GA, just so you know. But this, think to use a brand name, think TeamViewer integration with your end users through endpoint management, where you can fire up a remote session with the user and help them directly on their device, and it's built into endpoint management. Very, very slick, very cool, and obviously very helpful. But as I mentioned, free right now. When it goes GA, there will be a price or a licensing scenario with this. But really cool that it's built in. Doesn't require you to go anywhere else to get another tool or deploy another tool set. a lot of easier troubleshooting on errors inside of endpoint management as well. They've got some policy. When you have a policy that's in conflict, you're going to have the ability to click on a link right inside of your management tool set there in the admin center and go straight to reports that will let you know if there are assignment failures and other different things that go on with your devices. So a lot of improvements coming there. We're also seeing a really big uptick and a lot of folks trying to get their devices under control, specifically with endpoint management and Intune features. So if you guys have been thinking about that, get on the list now because it's just getting longer and we're getting a lot of backup with folks wanting to get that done, but just finding the time to be able to get through everybody that wants this done. So get on the phone with us quickly and let's sign that up. I'm going to hand it over to Dynamics. Take it away.